This might be my third time recording this video because my storage is absolutely horrible, and apparently whatever doesn't want this video to happen, but I'm not going to be allowing whatever that is to stop it from at least being created. I don't know if I'm gonna post it, but at least I'm going to create it. So yeah. Hi. I'm not one for introductions, especially with what I'm feeling, what I'm carrying right now. So not sure what I'm going to name the title of the video, but I'm thinking The Grief You Choose. And right now I'm carrying a lot, and maybe you are too if you're listening. Maybe it may just be me listening to myself, but I'm sitting with the reality that we as people aren't taught how to grieve, let alone grieve the decisions that we make that put us into a place of sadness and heaviness. Yeah. I think we're taught that grief happens because you lose something out of your control, which is the case a lot of the times, and it's still so heavy. And then it's a process, and it happens, and you have to maneuver, do it the best you can. But unfortunately, there's also this quiet grief where you choose to let go of that relationship or that view or that person you used to be or that business. I don't know. And that isn't portrayed as much, I don't believe, in media, online, etc. But it happens clearly because here I am, and here you probably are too, with the grief that you chose. Yeah. This is like my first time doing this, but I also feel like it's the most rawest form of me just talking, and it feels very vulnerable. But I'm also coming to the realization that there's so much beauty and strength in your vulnerability to talk about the things that you feel and you experience, because there's so many people who are experiencing and feeling the same thing. And I just want you to know, if you're watching, and even if I'm talking to myself, like I was saying earlier, you're not alone. Yeah. I see a lot of times online when people are going through grief, you'll see them, they'll be at the over it phase. So I like to think of grief as a mountain, right? So you have the beginning at the bottom over here, then you have the top of the mountain, and then you have the other side, right? I always catch people when they're at either the top online or they're on the other side of grief, which I don't think grief ever ends. It's kind of like it lightens, right? But I never find people, and I'm trying not to cry, it doesn't take much. I don't really find many people. Okay, I don't find many people at this point, the beginning stages, I guess, of that. And so I'm your example. I'm at the beginning, literally fresh. And I don't want this to be a sob session, because I am dealing with the loss of a relationship that I wanted but didn't need, with someone that I loved that just wasn't for me. And I've grieved a lot of different things, but this is really my first time grieving something I chose, something I said, hey, I can't ignore the signs, the God or the universe, whatever you believe, saying quietly, fill in the blank, I guess. And the hardest part about choosing to grieve is that you have to be so prepared to deny what makes sense in the moment and what's comfortable in your body to do what you know is right, for yourself. And I talk with my hands a lot, but it's so much, again, vulnerability is so much, you feel naked almost. Like, and I thank God that the person that I chose to grieve allowed me to. We allowed each other to. And so that itself was beautiful, but that's not always the case. And if that's your case, I understand you too. Because I haven't been allowed to choose my grief before in a way that was met with a lot of resistance. But yeah. I don't know what it is in the internet, if my little agent is on my phone, but soon as it happened, I go on Instagram and I'm scrolling. I'm just seeing videos and videos and videos about we're meant to be back together. If God we'll be back together. And I don't never want to give up on my favorite person. And just video after video of my specific situation, or just grief, just letting go content, just all on my page. And I'm like, so now Instagram is no longer safe for me. But I think social media and grief doesn't always mix well in general. So I did also make another conscious decision to step back from it. So I did delete IG off my phone for a while. It is deleted, but it'll be off for a while. So congratulations to me, someone who is chronically online a bit, for stepping back. Because here we are now, about to be stronger than ever, hopefully. I don't know, girl. We down here. We at phase 1. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like this is such a weird, awkward way to hold this mic, but it's all I got, so bear with me. Another part that I'm finding that is hard about navigating these early stages is that you want to have a why in an answer. You want to make things logical and sensical, because they don't. They don't make any. It doesn't make no sense, guys. I have to laugh to keep from crying. And I think that's something I struggle with, is allowing myself to feel and not have to have an answer. But I'm also a person that does believe in a higher being, so I internalize a lot of the pain that I feel and say, okay, so what's next? I'm feeling it intensely. I'm crying. I'm literally laying in bed a few hours ago, because it's 5 a.m., right? 5 a.m. And I just wake up and I'm crying. I'm getting out the bed. I'm crying. I'm like, I need to take a shower. So I'm trying to show up, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to take one later. I go in the shower, I'm washing, and I just sit in the shower. I just kind of cry and I just sit down. Because sometimes showing up for yourself doesn't mean it being perfect. It's just trying. And those are the early stages. Those are the early stages of grieving, period. And I'm just, even while I was taking a shower, I was just, God, I'm thankful that I have the strength to take a shower. God, I'm thankful that I had somebody in my life that was so amazing and added to my life that choosing to let go is hard. Because grief, regardless of whether it's by choice or in fate almost, or just something you weren't prepared for, you're losing something that was so, maybe it wasn't great, but it was so connected and so intertwined in your being that it hurts to let go. And there's a heaviness and a beauty in missing someone. And I try to hold space for that, because a lot of people don't have people they can miss. A lot of people don't have loved ones that they just, you know. And I'm sorry if this makes no sense at all. I'm like, does anything make sense right now? It doesn't. But yeah, it's crazy actually. I am also, I have a twin brother. Let me start there, since I'm just telling all my business. I have a twin brother, and the same night that I was dealing with what I was dealing with, just ironically and just terribly, he was in a very serious car accident. And God, one of the boys that was in the car didn't make it. The driver, of course, is going to jail. And my brother had to experience the grief of losing two friends. One, he had to watch pass away. The other one, he had to watch go to jail. Not because he did anything wrong that he chose to do, but because he was tired and endangered the lives of others. And as I was taking a shower, I felt the grief of my twin brother, the empathy that I have for him, because I'm an empath, so I carry it, and I'm crying now. But dealing with layered grief is also, it's just, you aren't taught how to. And me and my brother are so connected. And so finding out that we both went through, God, I don't even want to compare mine to his at all. I wasn't sure if I was going to share it, but I reached out to him. He talked to me, and I didn't even know what to say, you know? Like, what do you say to someone who is losing? Because the early stages of grief don't look like a loss. It looks like a losing. It feels like it's happening in front of you. It looks like you're watching it unfold, and it hasn't ended yet. And I think that's the scariest part, is you don't know when it's over, when the loss is a loss, and when the loss is actively a losing. It's like, okay, when am I going to get to the point where I'm at the top of the mountain, looking back at the beginning, and you're just not there yet, and that's okay. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. one thing I was thinking while I was in the shower and I was on the ground and I was just sobbing, and the heaviness of the sob was part of what my brother felt and what he experienced. And it's so insane. It's insane to explain to people things when they don't have a twin. I'm starting to realize that we are crazy. If you were a twin, you know how I feel probably, or if you have a sibling, if you care deeply about anyone, and if you're an empath especially, you know. But as I'm laying there, I'm like, what am I gonna allow myself to do right now that I don't allow myself to do? I think it's important that when you're grieving, that you make it abundantly clear that you're not putting limitations on what grief looks like for yourself and how it happens. And so I said, I'm going to cry. I'm going to be an empath. I'm going to feel for my brother. I'm going to feel for the one that I chose to grieve. Because God knows I had the hardest time even allowing that, because I love that person. I had love for that person so deeply. And I'm going to allow myself to feel that empathy for myself too. Yeah. Yeah, so I told myself I'm gonna let myself cry, even if it's ugly. Whenever I was bawling when it ended, some hours back, I cried laying down. I cried talking to my friends. I told my two closest friends. Then when I lay back down again, I cried some more. Fell asleep, woke up, I cried. Took a shower, I cried. I'm drying myself off, I cried. Come into my bed right now to record, I cried. And sometimes you just don't cry. Sometimes when you're grieving, you just don't do what you thought you would do or what people expect you to do. It just shows up so differently, which is, I think, is what makes grief so interesting. Is that what I'm feeling right now is completely different from another person, and what I did when I was grieving something else is different than how I'm grieving right now. It's like an evolution, at least when that POV, but with other people, it's just we all do things differently. So I'm just a crybaby, unfortunately. So that is going to be a very heavy and very intentional part of my grieving process, is to just cry. And ironically, the person that I chose to grieve has allowed me to significantly do that. To be like, why not? Even this video being created is because of, inadvertently, because that person, in the time they were in my life, at the capacity that they were in my life, they gave me kind of the balls. Is that even the word to say, guys? They gave me the confidence to be like, okay, we're just gonna, and I had it, but they just kind of pushed it. It was like, oh yeah, like, they gave me the extra, the sparkle. So I'm grateful for that, because here we are. And hopefully I'll have the sprinkle and the sparkle to post this somewhere, anywhere. I don't know. It's 20 minutes long, so girl, maybe it'll just be me talking to me. but that's okay too. Um, yeah, I guess I can leave you all with this is perfectly imperfect as I am all the time. I don't want to leave you all with words of encouragement because I'm probably here with you at the same space, in the same spot, carrying the same. Okay, I'm gonna try to get this out before my phone dies. Shout out to me for literally fighting through technical difficulties because what is going on. But like I was saying, I don't want to leave you all with a word of encouragement per se because I am also at the bottom of the mountain, the beginning of it. And so I'm not here to be an inspiration, more of a just to be real, I guess. I don't know. I do not know, y'all. I don't know, but there's so much inspiration and so many things I could say. But I do believe in all corniness that it does get better. Cause I've known people who have went through it, going through it, and they made it through. So yeah, thanks for listening. Bye.